All right, everyone, welcome back to week 29 of this series, which has sort of morphed into an update. Um, this may be the last time I do it at this point and this time. I'm not saying I'm ending the series. I need to find another time because I've been doing it Sunday nights since the beginning, and now on the Sunday night schedule is a bit different. I'm exhausted. Still going to go through it here, but in the future, I may do it Friday evening or at some other point on the weekend, but this is not working for me. But that being said, here's today's video. Okay, so you may notice a theme this week, but we're going to start with plateau. And it is not the funnest chart, but it hasn't been a fun chart for a while. It's been going lower, lower. It's back at 35 and a third cents. Two things I wanted to mention about it. One is it is included in the new Canadian HURA ETF. It wouldn't surprise me if eventually there are other ETFs, potentially one in the US, that has a similar index because sometimes um, when they have a new ETF, they have it in both Canada and the US. This one they didn't. Leads me to think that it's possible there's some other license going on with the same um, uh, index, but you never know. Lithium, along with many other commodities, does seem to be very concerned about the economy and trade war, as do I, which is why my picks for this week are not too economically sensitive, which leads me to pick two. Pick two for this week being Uranium Energy Corp. And this is just, I wanted to add a bit more of a US producer. I don't know which way 232 is, but the amount of time it's taking, which, by the way, I think is great. Um, I reworked. I don't work for a hedge fund or anything. I just manage my own money. I went through my assumptions again for when this market might move and how it might react, and I noticed some things that I seem to have assumed slightly differently before, and fundamentals are really improving. And as you may notice from the theme of this week, I am trying to personally fight the inclination or the feeling I have of wait and see what happens with 232. It seems to me that almost everyone who's looking to put more money to work is thinking, well, let's wait and see what happens with 232. Now, anything can happen, and in the meantime, the price being down at whatever doesn't necessarily matter that much, but the price being this low is great and staying here, and wanted to have a bit more exposure to the US in case something comes out of the 232, but really just hope it takes a while and I hope it, well, gets resolved. Which leads me to my third pick, and if you couldn't guess, it is also a uranium thing. Now, this one is a bit more out of the money, and I say that because I did mention in the last pick that I went through my assumptions again and looked at what was happening and what might happen, and it really seems to me like there may be, there's more and more likely all the time. And if we get to July, it's even more likely, July 14th, when the latest the 232 decision could be. It seems more likely that we'll need the higher cost out of the money plays, such as Bannerman. And even if it's not needed, I think that it would be the type of asset that would be wanted for security, potentially from a big power that is looking for security of supply if things get tight. And if things get tight, the price paid for such an asset as Bannerman's 270 million pounds or whatever, depending on if you want to include reserves and resources, could be more so based on the pounds in the ground play as opposed to the economics. But you never know. I don't buy anything based on the premise of I want this to, or I need this to get bought out. But it's looking more and more like we might get to a point where someone would want to buy it out. But if they don't, I think I'd be happy holding it anyway. So we'll have to see how things go, obviously. But this is my picks for this week. Now, as to some other subjects which I wanted to cover, but didn't really want to have them be a pick this week, either because I don't have a strong view either way or near term or whatever. Anyway, gold. Gold is interesting right now because the action on the price action recently has been, oh, we're breaking out, never mind, which is not good. That being said, I don't hate gold. Also, bearing what I just said in mind, a few weeks ago, I tweeted that it looked like gold equities were saying that gold was going lower. They were leading gold lower, and gold followed. Now, when I look at it, gold was down a bunch the other day, and gold equities, particularly juniors, were up on the day. So it looks to me like there's potential for gold equities saying gold might be headed higher. Okay, so that's it for the gold rant, but a few other portfolio holding updates. For Chorus, they had a large shareholder this past week sell below the market, which took a hit. Now, this was always a possibility. They'd had a big shareholder, and the rumor was that they were trying to get out. Now, they dissuade that rumor basically at the bottom, but now they sold out significantly below the market. Well, stock fell 18% in a day, but now they're out. So that is a threat that is now gone. But that being said, it knocked the share price back, and that wasn't great. But I continue to hold, and I believe they have gotten on the right track. Now, was I thinking that at where it was before, I might move some of the money to uranium? Maybe, but at this point, it's still hold or a buy, maybe even down here. I'm not buying any this week, but my personal account and in here holding, and I have no problem with that. And while this video is dragging on much longer than I intended, I still have some updates. Next one is Verde. Now, Verde is Brazil-based, as is Equinox. And my understanding is the weather in Brazil has not been amenable to easy and great production. So it would not at all surprise me if Verde came in below what they thought they were going to do. Also, they're waiting on some permits. So again, in upcoming quarters, I don't have the highest expectations for them. But longer term, it's still, can they execute? And if not, what's your downside? How much are they going to dilute you? Considering they haven't done much dilution in their entire history. Again, I'm holding. Lastly, shipping and diamonds. Okay, so why am I talking about these together? Well, these are two sectors that are both economically sensitive. One is more so about trade, and the other is just has a long history of being economically sensitive. And I'm not super bullish about the economy. That being said, if we don't have a recession, or if it's a mild recession, or if we come out of the recession stronger, or whatever, uh, were the economy neutral, I would be extremely bullish on these sectors. And who knows, it is always possible that there's an insurance rate hike which keeps the economy booming, or some infrastructure spend or something that keeps the economy chugging along. And if that happens, these are, I think, potentially some of the higher beta sectors. And that being said, you can't always invest thinking, okay, well, what if the market crashes? Of course, if the market crashes and if the economy tanks, these will be hurt. That being said, I believe that it's possible that these sectors can outperform if we're forced into prolonged stagnation due to fighting or QE forever or whatever may come. I don't know what's going to come, but the supply and demand of these two sectors are places where I like putting money. As always, everyone, please do your own research before making any investment decisions. This channel shall not be liable for any losses incurred from investment decisions made as a result of information obtained on this channel. Good luck with your investments. I'll catch you next time.